All right, what you see here is the verdict against Simon Ekpa in Finland. Simon Ekpa has been actually given 6 years imprisonment, including charge of terrorism and the tax fraud. Remember, I told Simon Ekpa this in 2023. I told him that he was under investigation, but because of his ego and ignorant, he ignored it, and I did that because I know the law and how it works. It is important for you to now understand the violation of international laws and distinguish the activities of Simon Ekpa from that of Nnamdi Kanu, so that you will compare and contrast. Nnamdi Kanu did every broadcast he did, all the activities he did in England, and every other place in Europe, in the first world country. No one saw him as a perpetrator of any act of terrorism. They noticed that everything he did was in line with the laws, in line with international laws, in line with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Hence, no first world country disturbed Nnamdi Kanu. But immediately when he came to Africa, where things like this can be maneuvered, that's when Nigeria were able to use their ally to intercept him. So that is exactly one thing you need to understand, because this verdict issued by the Finland authority against Simon Ekpa, he deserved it because everyone saw his activities and saw that he was out of line and he was suffering the people he claimed he was fighting freedom for, and it's making them sit at home, making them lose their means of livelihood, intimidating them. And there is no way you will claim you are fighting freedom for people and you're making them suffer. The people who are oppressed and disgruntled, the people who are marginalized and excluded, the people who are economic sabotaged, you are creating a scenario where they are also economic oppressed by deploying sit-at-home mechanism that will make them to lose their means of livelihood and intimidating women who are selling things in the market for them to make a daily living. So how do you call that a self-determination? How do you call that freedom for the same people? So that is an act of terrorism. Now, in that regard, so the justice system in Finland was working and they were able to gather evidence against this guy and they nailed him. Now, what is it that you think Nigeria has gathered against Nnamdi Kanu? Because there is nothing to gather against him. Everything he did it in line with international law, in line with local law, which support self-determination. And that's what Nnamdi Kanu has done over the years. And then if you are expecting the verdict that is going to go against Nnamdi Kanu just because Simon Ekpa has been jailed, you need to rethink. It is only a biased judge or unlearned judge that will actually nail Nnamdi Kanu or imprison Nnamdi Kanu, because Nnamdi Kanu walked in line with the law. Everything he did to protect his people. He did in line with Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Self-determination is recognized and not a crime. The story of Simon was that he hid under the guise of self-determination to exploit people, to actually intimidate people, to unalive people. That's exactly what he did. And we warned him, I personally warned him, but he called us criminals. Therefore, he got what he called for. So that's exactly what's going on. So those of you who will think, especially those Nigeria bigots and then tribal bigots, will wake up to say, no, Nnamdi Kanu will get the same thing. You should actually get disappointed from now. But get disappointed right now, because no international law will back up anything against Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu distanced himself from the beginning. From the beginning, When I also interviewed Barrister Ejiofor, he distanced himself from the activities of Simon Ekpa, which means they were not on the same course. They were on different course. Nnamdi Kanu was the one we knew that was fighting for this, the land of Biafra. Simon, we don't know. He just surfaced from somewhere, nowhere, and decided to take advantage of him knowing or speaking to Nnamdi Kanu in an interview, and took advantage of the people and become the nightmare to the people. And then this is the end of him. I started with him. I was actually one of the people who supported him from the beginning when he was doing the right thing. From the time he actually interviewed Nnamdi Kanu, I was supporting him. I was supporting him even when Nnamdi Kanu was actually, taken inside, just because he was still doing the right thing. Immediately when he began to do the wrong thing, I called him, Simon, you are doing the wrong thing. There are many questions I threw to him, and he couldn't answer those questions. With Nsima, this Nsima that is going around and saying the Igbos are criminals. The same Nsima was working with Simon when he was one of the people who empowered Simon, because he was a media warrior for Simon and them. The reason why Nsima left Simon was because Nsima saw that Simon is the one going to be the leader, because Nsima was also looking for leadership. So that's how they become enemy. And Nsima was not able to see what he was looking for, because he was looking for where he will exploit. Because these people are just looking for where they will exploit our people. Then Nsima now turn around to say Igbos are criminals. So that's how the story is. Cutting it short, this man here has been sentenced for 6 years imprisonment for tax fraud and terrorism against his people in Nigeria by Finnish authority. And then I can categorically tell you that we welcome that development, because even the things he created in our land is still unaliving people, just like the video I did few days ago that shows you where this guy unalived 3 boys just because he claimed they use his pew pew to go and go do criminal activities, when he was the one who trained them and recruit them into criminal activities. Because he did criminal activity and never told him, he unalived them. So this is where I am going to leave it. Nnamdi Kanu will be going to court next month, and we are expecting a positive result. I know how court process work. So, having seen the trajectory of the case that the federal government have against Nnamdi Kanu, there is no prima facie. Hence, after they have closed the case, there is no prima facie, and there is nothing to hold Nnamdi Kanu in the custody. Everything was just BS, nonsense. So, the court, if it is competent, if it is learned, the judge, they will discharge and acquitted Nnamdi Kanu from all the frivolous charges leveled against him, for their reputation to actually be intact. Because the case of Nnamdi Kanu is actually doing a competency test in Nigeria judicial system. And any judge who took up that case is basically setting up themselves for the world to assess them. And we're not going anywhere. We are still here. We will always be here to continue to expose them and their activities. Because this is the journey we have embarked on, and we will see it through. The freedom of our people is sacrosanct. And we cannot achieve that freedom through deception. We must be upright in fighting for such freedom.